York, the father who told police his 9-year-old daughter was abducted in a white van, then leading to an Amber Alert, is now charged himself with her murder.
At 9:17 p.m., a father called 911 screaming that strangers kidnapped his 9-year-old daughter. But the real horror wasn't the kidnapping he described. It was the truth investigators would uncover 24 hours later, when they found the little girl's body deliberately weighed down with a rock in a remote pond by the man who had raised her since birth. Welcome to Crime Lab Report, where the darkest crimes meet the light of justice. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a case so horrifying, a child failed by her own father and by the system. So sit back and prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear will haunt you long after this video ends. Melina had been counting down to this vacation with her father. The bubbly Montreal third grader packed her unicorn notebook and chess set, telling classmates she'd bring back souvenirs from New York City. Just hours before her death, she'd video called her mother, giggling as she described eating pancakes at a diner. Asterisk, we're coming home tomorrow. Asterisk, she promised. There was no tremor in her voice, no shadow in her wide brown eyes. Nothing to hint that Luciano Frattolin had already decided this would be their last night together. The cracks in Luciano's story spread fast. Surveillance footage showed him alone at a Saratoga Springs gas station at 5:30 p.m., the exact time he claimed to be with Melina near Lake George. His description of supposed kidnappers morphed by the hour. First hoodies, then baseball caps, then a tattoo one allegedly had on his neck. But the most damning evidence lay 30 miles north in Ticonderoga, where forest rangers found Melina's body, submerged in tea-colored water. A rock the size of a bowling ball pinned her down. A fallen log obscured her from view. This wasn't a hasty crime. It was a calculated burial. The autopsy peeled back Luciano's lies layer by layer. Bruises circled Melina's wrists like bracelets, evidence she fought desperately as her father held her under. Water filled her lungs, but it was the petechial hemorrhages in her eyes that told the full story. This was a violent drowning, not an accident. The timeline tightened like a noose. Melina's cheerful 6:30 p.m. call to her mother marked her last known words. By 9:05 p.m., Luciano was dialing 911, his daughter's body already cooling in the woods. As detectives dug deeper, Luciano's facade crumbled.
Investigating the homicide of Melina Frattolin. I want to remind everyone that this is an ongoing investigation, and this information is preliminary and subject to change. On Saturday, July 19th, 2025, at approximately 10 o'clock p.m., Warren County 911 received a call from a man reporting his 9-year-old daughter missing with a possible abduction in the area of exit 22 of I-87 Northway in Lake George. The child was identified as Melina Frattolin, age 9, and the caller as her father, Luciano Frattolin, age 45. The New York State Police and Warren County Sheriff's Office immediately responded to the area of exit 22 of the Northway and initiated investigation and attempt to locate Melina. On Sunday, July 20th, a search detail comprised of officers from multiple agencies conducted an organized search in the town of Ticonderoga, New York. In an area, Mr. Frattolin was suspected of having visited. During that search detail, at approximately 10:50, members of the New York State Police Forest Rangers located Melina deceased in the shallow portion of a pond. This investigation has revealed that on July 11th, 2025, Mr. Frattolin and Melina, both residents of Montreal, Quebec, legally entered the United States for the purpose of a vacation. They were expected to return to Canada on Sunday, July 20th, at which time Melina would be returned to the custody of her mother in Montreal. The mother and Mr. Frattolin had been estranged since 2019. The child resided full-time with her mother, and Frattolin visited with the child when in Canada. At about 5:30 p.m. on July 20th, Melina is observed with her father on video surveillance in Saratoga Springs, New York. At about 6:30 p.m., she spoke to her mother on the phone and told her she and her father were en route back to Canada. The child appeared to be in good health and did not indicate she was under any duress. The investigation has determined sometime after Melina's phone call with her mother and before Mr. Frattolin's 911 call, He allegedly murdered Melina and left her body in a remote area where she was later discovered by law enforcement. Initial reports from Mr. Frattolin of a suspicious white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue. The suspect has been charged with murder in the second degree and concealment of a human corpse. He was then transported to the Essex County Correctional Facility where he was held pending arraignment. The suspect is scheduled to be at Ticonderoga Town Court this morning for arraignment. Melina's cause of death is pending the results of an autopsy, which is scheduled for later today.
Behind his Instagram post boasting #GirlDad and his coffee company's website, calling Melina the light of his life, lurked financial ruin. His claimed $30 million fortune evaporated under scrutiny, revealing maxed out credit cards and a failing business. Yet none of this explained why. The courtroom became Luciano's final stage. Shackled but smug in a gray suit, he showed no reaction as prosecutors described finding Melina's DNA under his fingernails.
You have certain rights with respect to these charges. You have the right to remain silent, and you cannot be forced to testify against yourself or make any written or oral statement. You are entitled to a speedy and public trial in which you have the right to confront witnesses who may testify against you. You also have the right to call witnesses and to submit evidence on your own behalf. You are presumed to be innocent. The district attorney bears the burden to prove each and every element of the crimes charged beyond a reasonable doubt, and a jury must unanimously agree on any verdict of guilt. Do you understand everything I've said thus far? Okay. Following this arraignment, you have the right to an adjournment to give your attorney time to prepare for trial. Are the people submitting anything at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Counsel are reminded of their continuing obligations regarding discovery. The court has issued a Brady decision. I'm not sure if you've been provided that.
We have, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. Okay. I'm going to be setting up the motion schedule. Defendant has 45 days from today's date to file omnibus motions. That would be September 13th. Because of the weekend, I'm moving that to September 15th. People's responses are due on September 29th. A reply, if any, will be due on or before October 6th. I'm going to be scheduling a conference. We'll get to that in a moment. But should pretrial hearings be directed, I'm going to schedule those hearings for November 12th, beginning at 10 a.m. I've also penciled in a jury trial on this matter to keep things moving, and the jury trial will commence on January 5th of 2026 at 9:30 a.m. All right, so let's now talk about bail. Mr. Lang, would you like to be heard?
Thank you, Judge. As you noted, the defendant is charged with the top count of murder in the second degree. That carries a maximum sentence of 25 years to life. As far as his ties to New York State, he has none, as well as no ties to the United States. He has an Italian and an Ethiopian passport. I believe he has a dual citizenship there. He has an international driver's license for Ethiopia, Canada. He has claimed residences in Canada as well as Ethiopia, and has businesses listed in Canada as well as Ethiopia. Given his lack of ties to our country and to the state, the possible life sentence that he's now facing, the people would ask that he be remanded without bail. It is the people's opinion that no amount of money would ensure that he would return, given his lack of ties, dual citizenships in Italy and Ethiopia, and also the fact of the maximum sentence, Judge, again, of life here. He has no ties to our state, he has no ties to the United States, and I believe he is a flight risk and he should be remanded without bail. If Your Honor is going to consider some type of monetary bail, it's the people's opinion. He has, I guess, made it known he had a bid in on a $5 million property in Montreal at this time. He has shown that realtor, I guess, a $30 million bank account. He is, at least according to us, planned on attempting to sell a mining company that would also be worth a significant amount of money. So if you do set an amount, I would ask that it be very high, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Evans, would you like to be heard regarding bail?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Frattolin is here. He is applied with no criminal history. He is not a U.S. disclose off the record for their safety. He would give up his Italian passport, which he has, not an Ethiopian passport, and be subject to electronic monitoring. He would appear in every and all proceedings in this court case. We would request reasonable monetary bail. Mr. Frattolin, as I said, has no reason to run from his allegations. He maintains his innocence and is innocent until proven guilty, Your Honor. He has no financial support here in the United States and is not a virus. So we ask for reasonable monetary bail.
The court has reviewed criminal history, and it does note that there is no other arrest in his past, at least that we've discovered. And I would be hard pressed to ignore the severity of the charges that are pending against him at this time. He does not have any ties to this area or even New York City, other than having a friend. There has been a lot of discussion regarding what his assets are. I'm not sure of the reality of that, but I have determined that there's a reasonable cause to believe that the defendant who stands charged with a felony, a Class A1 felony, which is a violent felony offense, I find that remand to the correctional facility is the only way to guarantee his attendance here in court because of the transient nature of this, of these allegations, of his citizenship, and really his ties to this area. I can't guarantee his return. So, Mr. Frattolin, I will be remanding you to the custody of the Essex County Sheriff to be provided at future dates before the court. I also want to note that you are ordered to appear at each and every court date, and if you fail to appear, and I know you're going to be remanded, but if you refuse to leave your cell, I would consider that a failure to appear, and I can conduct hearings and proceedings in your absence, and you could even go to trial. So you need to be here for your own defense. Your attorney will struggle to represent you if she doesn't have access to you. So make sure that you stay available to her. And I will schedule a compliance conference in light of the fact that I'm going to be remanding you for August 19th at 3 p.m. And at that time, we will discuss where things stand with discovery. All right, so anything further from the people?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defense? All right, I'm going to remand Mr. Frattolin back to the custody of the Essex County Sheriff to be produced on August 19th. Thank you, everyone. Off the record, I also want to note to the members of the press, I know you all put in applications for continuing proceedings.
The Amber Alert that blared across New York that night now stands as a cruel irony, a system designed to save children weaponized by the very man who ended one. While search teams scoured highways of fictitious white van, Luciano Frattolin was already miles away, his daughter's body slowly sinking into the tannin-dark waters of a Ticonderoga pond. The rock he placed on her small frame wasn't just concealment. It was a final act of domination, ensuring even in death, Melina couldn't rise to the surface. Forensic analysis revealed the meticulous brutality of Luciano's crime. Petechial hemorrhages in Melina's eyes confirmed she fought desperately as he held her underwater. The positioning of the log, dragged to obscure her from view, showed premeditation. But the most chilling detail emerged from the autopsy report. Water in her lungs mixed with traces of lakeweed, proving she'd been alive when submerged. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was an execution. Luciano's behavior post-murder bordered on surreal. Surveillance footage captured him at a Price Chopper grocery store just hours after killing Melina, casually selecting bananas and granola bars while her body decomposed in the woods. His Instagram, still live at the time, showed a 3-year-old photo of Melina captioned "*My reason for everything." The grotesque disconnect between his actions and his curated persona left investigators questioning. Had he planned this all along? The custody handoff that should have saved Melina never happened. Her mother, unaware of the horror unfolding, had packed Melina's favorite stuffed owl for her return. Instead, she received a call from New York State Police, not to confirm a flight delay, but to identify her daughter's waterlogged remains. The no concern she'd expressed about Luciano during their custody agreement now echoed as a devastating oversight. Financial records exposed another layer of deception. Behind Luciano's boast of a $30 million bank account and $5 million Montreal property bid lay crushing debt, unpaid rent, maxed out credit cards, and a failing coffee business. Yet, prosecutors hesitated to name money as the sole motive. The timing was too precise. Melina died the night before she returned to her mother's sole custody. Was this about control, spite, or some warped belief that if he couldn't have her, no one would? As Luciano Frattolin sits in his cell awaiting trial, one question lingers. How many saw the cracks but looked away? The Instagram post that vanished, the debts he had behind designer suits, the eerie calm as he described his daughter's kidnapping. Melina's voice may have been silenced, but her story screams a warning we can't afford to ignore. Rest gently, Melina. The world should have loved you half as fiercely as you loved unicorns in chess.